Alrighty. I am Amiable Apparition, and I'm going to be diving into a new series today. They are called the Physical Exorcist games. They've been slowly developing this series since about 2020, I believe. Stumbled upon them, forgot about them, stumbled upon them again. But yeah, they're an interesting, quirky little, like, horror RPG maker / visual novel type game. Separated into, like, cases or short stories, if you will, but they're all, like, interconnected into, like, one linear story. Which I find interesting. Like, one interconnected, like, universe with shared characters and stuff. I watched the, like, most recent one that came out, but I have completely forgotten about or not played through a lot of the earlier cases. So that's what I am going to be doing over the next couple of weeks. So, yeah, let's dive right into it. Case 1 is called, or Case 0, super, spooky. Case 0, the Cannibal Boy. Oh, spooky! We can choose English or 3 other Asian languages. So spooky. Sounds like it's raining. Maybe someone's banging on the door. Ah, it was a jump scare. If you've heard this story, you have to hurry and tell someone who hasn't. Oh no, that's the worst. Or else he might just come to get you. Oh man, freaking chainmail. Please name the protagonist. The default name is Brucie. Brucie? Oh, hell yeah. I don't know, Brucie's pretty freaking great. I don't know if I can improve on Brucie. The work is partly based on a true story. Oh, hell yeah. You know you're in for a good story when they say based on a true story. Oh. Got this lady in a little green hoodie with her eyes closed. Hey, have you guys heard of the Cannibal Boy? It's like a nice, like, campfire, like, spooky story. Huh? Get someone nerdy character. Of course, it's the urban legend everyone's been talking about. Jade, James, don't you two remember why we're in Jade's room with this heavy textbook on counseling psychology? Huh? I really don't. Why was it again? Also, I am going to turn the BGM down just a little bit more. It's a little loud on my end, but... Why was it again? Because we need to study. We have finals tomorrow, remember? You know how strict the professor can be. Do you want to fail the course? Jade, I was only studying abroad for a year. Since when did Brucie become such a downer? Did he get dumped or something? I like how the nerdy character is the one that doesn't want to study. How should I know? Come on, Brucie, tell me what's wrong. We promise we'll make fun of you together. Anyway, have you heard of the Cannibal Boy or not? I have, but so what? You know the recent multiple homicides in the area? According to a friend of a friend, all the victims saw a certain boy. Then a few days later, they were found dead in their rooms. Their bodies and limbs gone. Oh, with only their heads left behind with a horrible grimace. Even creepier, they all had human bite marks on their necks. Sounds like zombies, man. You know what that means? Their heads were ripped off by the Cannibal Boy with his teeth. Is a boy's bite really that strong? I was about to say, yeah, that sounds like some zombie shit. I don't think a human could do that. Hey, Brucie, what's wrong with you? You never question the logic of an urban legend. Otherwise, it's no fun. That's me when I watch a horror movie. I'm like, if you start questioning things, it doesn't become fun anymore. Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, I've heard about it. So? Well, do you know about his past? What caused him to become a bloodthirsty man-eater? Beats me. What, are you gonna do a case conceptualization? Draw his genogram or something? Why not? We get to hear an interesting urban legend and get a refresher on counseling psychology. Let James finish the story. Part 1. The Cannibal Boy. He never brushed his hair. The Cannibal Boy was originally just an ordinary kid who lived happily with his dad, mom, and big sister. I like how the rumor has granted him a backstory, like, you know, like Jason Voorhees was a normal kid that drowned in a lake, but he drowned because people weren't paying attention. Like, he's got the full story. But one day, his mom cheated on his dad and left the family, leaving the dad to become an alcoholic, and everything changed. Whenever the dad was drunk, he did stuff to the big sister. Ugh! Yikes! The big sister resisted desperately at first until the dad said, "If you won't play with me, I'll play with your little brother." Ugh! You're his big sister, right? You decide what you want. So the sister just stopped resisting and let the dad keep abusing her? She wanted to be a martyr at such a young age, huh? How very admirable. Well, that's what kids are like. Kids don't know who's responsible for the things that happen. That's why some end up believing that their mother left because they were a bad kid. The big sister was exactly that type. So even though the dad's abuse got worse and worse, all her little brother did was cry. She shouldered it all. How can a kid deal with that much abuse? Why wouldn't she want to run away? You don't understand. When parents don't act like kids, especially ones with younger siblings, will grow up and take on the role of parents. The big sister became a mother for her brother and her dad. In a fucked up kind of way, yeah? Besides the way the dad abused the big sister, it's hard to say who the parent was. Yeah, like you've seen it? After every assault, the dad would lie on top of the sister crying his eyes out. Why are we getting so much first-hand, details about this? Mama, don't leave me. I hate you, Mama. I wish you'd go to hell. Those kinds of villains are the worst. But there was something up with the dad's mama. Cannibal Boy's grandmother, right? If we keep speculating like that, the story will never end. That's why forces of pure evil in anime and comics are proper villains. You don't have to consider their background stories or anything, you can just blame them. Like Jade says, if the dad was a proper villain, the big sister would have had no problem blaming him, but sadly he wasn't. In addition to putting up with her dad's abuse, she had to comfort her little brother, who wasn't good for anything other than saying sorry. Don't worry, I'm fine. Fine? The sister swallowed back tears for the whole family. Tears boiled in her little body. How could she be fine? So I guess the idea is that shitty family household, the brother eventually snaps and then kills the dad and eats him, I guess. To make matters worse, even though the sister protected her little brother from physical abuse, he couldn't escape the mental abuse. Unfortunately for him, the little brother looked a lot like his mom. That's right, the mom who left with some other man. He looked like his mom? Oof. You want to get bullied for being a sissy? The dad prepared a lot of meat every meal and forced the brother to swallow it down. He wanted the brother to grow big and strong and not look so much like his mom. Gotta drink your milk! Even when the brother became scared of the sight of meat and threw up whenever he ate it, the dad was relentless, shoving a big chunk of some meat into his mouth every day. 'Cause you know, eating a big steak is how you grow big and strong. Just eat steak. The more the dad abused him, the more he cowered. The more he cowered, the more the dad abused him. And like a curse, the dad's fears came true. The little brother did really get bullied for being a sissy, and his teachers turned a blind eye. His life became living hell.
Be gone, fuck!
That's when he started having hallucinations. He saw apparitions that no one else could see, and heard voices that no one else could hear. Finally, he came to the conclusion that evil spirits were to blame for everything. You know, I mean, fair. When you're in these really, really shitty situations where nothing is going your way, what else are you gonna blame, right? If they really were human, they wouldn't be so mean to me. My dad, my teachers, my classmates. They all must be possessed. Jeez, couldn't have asked for help. Who could I have asked? The useless teachers. If you tell any of your teachers, I'll kill myself and your sister. You don't want to see your dad and big sister die, do you? I know you're a good boy. As you can tell, the dad's quite the character. This is like both, like, actually kind of realistic and also exaggerated. It's like a nice kind of blend of both. Jesus, he's such a drama queen. I haven't even gotten to the dramatic part yet. Don't blow your load so early, man. One day the little brother came home, heavy-footed as usual, and opened the door. From inside the house came the familiar smell of alcohol, mixed with blood. A broken bottle, a bloody knife, the dad's face stabbed to the pulp. The sister with her wrists slashed open. The little brother didn't have to read the suicide note on her desk to realize what had happened. So it was too much for the big sister after all. Or maybe I should say I'm impressed that she lasted so long. I like how we're starting to realize that these people aren't maybe so nice. Considering that's what she says in response to this. Like, wow, she lasted pretty long. And he seems to be, like, reveling in this story. Like, I know it's, like, a scary story that you kind of tell around the campfire, but he said, like, oh, don't blow your load yet. When he picked up the bloody suicide note on the table, though, what he saw was... Oh... It's your fault. 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 And in that instant, something snapped inside the little brother. My sister would never write that. She'd never write anything to hurt me. It must have been that evil spirit. The little brother's brain rewrote what happened in order to protect himself. The voices he heard and the illusions he saw served to protect the little world he shared with his sister. The evil spirit in Dad wanted to possess my sister, but she didn't want to hurt me and wanted to free Dad, so she killed him and herself. But they aren't the only ones possessed by evil spirits. My teachers are, my classmates are, and so many more people. If I don't do something to free all the people who are possessed, won't my dad and sister have died in vain? There's a reason for all the suffering I had to endure. So it's my turn to exorcise all those evil spirits. But I can't just leave my dad and sister behind like this. Oh, I'll pack them up and take them with me. Oh, good thing Dad trained me to put lots of meat in my belly. That's one way to put it. But it'll be a huge hassle for the police when they find the blood, but can't figure out who the victims are. I've got to leave them the heads at least. That's one way. What? It'll be a real huge hassle for the police to find out that I did it. Or they did it. Or they killed themselves, I guess. I'll leave them the heads. Alright. That's some flawed logic, I guess. So the Cannibal Boy packed up his dad and sister and set out on a journey to exorcise evil spirits. That's the Cannibal Boy's past. That's why only the heads of his victims are ever found. It's the last remaining shred of his conscience. James, why is your version of the story so different from the one I heard? Huh? How does your version go? Well, when the Cannibal Boy was a little kid, his dad always locked him out on the balcony. He would knock on the window every night, begging his dad to let him in. Once you've heard this story, you have to tell someone who doesn't know it yet, or he'll come knocking on your window and beg you to let him in. As soon as you open the window, he'll bite your head off and eat your body. Hold on a sec. So now that I've heard the story of the Cannibal Boy, I have to tell someone who hasn't, or he'll come and eat me? Is that right? Yeah, something wrong. James, you wasted time telling me the story at the risk of failing the course. Don't tell me. Yep, you got me. How could I worry about failing some stupid course when I might get eaten tonight? Oh, you little... I don't care in the slightest who the Cannibal Boy might be coming for tonight. Hey! The real problem is that you fabricated too much of the story. Seriously, how could you possibly know that the dad did to the Cannibal Boy and his sister at home? That's what I was wondering. I was like, there's way too much personal detail here. Sure, people shouldn't question the logic of an urban legend, but you just made that stuff up. That's different. It's more fun to sex it up, though. I dare you to disagree. You know? A lot of people who write horror stories think this way. They're like, oh, we gotta throw in some sexual assault. Gotta spice it up with that, you know? Everybody loves that. What? Are you kidding me? Everybody loves that. gives us an excuse to have a underage girl have a sex scene with an underage girl is fine because it's horror, right? It's fine. That's what everyone thinks. It's fine because it's horror. In any other story, no one would ever think that's okay. But, oh, it's fine because it's horror. It's fine. I think you're confused, my dear. Are you honestly seeking truth in an urban legend? It's like, yeah, look what he's saying. They're practically made to be sexed up. And she's like, she's me. Like a true person who likes horror, like, are you fucking kidding me? Okay. The essence of urban legend is the blending of fact and lies. The Cannibal Boy's past may not have been that tragic, or could have been even more tragic. He may not actually exist, or he might not come and eat Brucie tonight. That's what an urban legend is all about. What's the fun in knowing all the facts? Horror in horror, or yeah. Okay, fine. As an urban legend, it's bound to have some lies mixed in with the truth. Nothing is certain. But there's one thing about your version that's definitely certain. And what's that? I don't know if the dad and big sister were really possessed by evil spirits. But I'm pretty sure that "it's your fault" came from the sister herself. Oh? Why do you think that? People who are too scared to stand up to bullies shift the blame onto people who are nicer than themselves. So they bully nice people and cower from the bad people, which means everyone gets bullied by bad people. Sounds like, she's got some personal experience. That's not the work of an evil spirit. They're all just so-called nice people. Dude, nice people are the worst, quote-unquote. Whoa, music! Whoa, anime intro! Oh, is that the sister and the brother? Whoa, that was legit. That was cool. Should probably save. Can I save? I can save. Cool. By the way, have you guys heard of doppelgangers? Now let's just change the subject. Huh? Of course, it's a popular urban legend. We just talked about the Cannibal Boy, now we're talking about doppelgangers. What happened to studying? What about our finals? Brucie, there's something I have to tell you. The earlier discussion enlightened me with a singular truth. What? What truth? If we give up on our finals, then it's winter break, starting now! Really? I'm going home. Hold on, let's just take an hour break. After that, I promise we'll study. Okay? That's the biggest lie I've ever heard in my life. Alright, one last story. We all go down together, bitch. You realize I can hear you, right? A doppelganger, which literally means walking double, is basically the phenomenon where you or someone else witnesses your double. I'm sure you've heard of it. Sure, who hasn't? Dude, okay, so have you ever, like, experienced that? I've never personally seen someone who looks similar to me, but I have seen people. That's awesome. I have seen that for other people, though. I've been like, oh my god, that person looks exactly like so-and-so. I've even seen that for my husband, where they looked exactly like them in terms of how they were wearing. It wasn't their hair. I don't go to Target? Oh, that's even creepier. I've been spared, though. I've never seen my doppelganger, but I've seen other people's doppelgangers, so... I don't know. Maybe when I see my doppelganger, it's just the end. Do you know what happens if you ever meet your doppelganger? Your doppelganger kills you, right? Anything else? If your doppelganger dies first, you'll die under similar circumstances. Ah, so you're dead meat either way. Did you know that doppelgangers aren't entirely fictional? I'm sure we've all come across something similar in our lives already. You know what I mean? Twins. In TV shows and comics, twins often find themselves in similar situations, right? Just like real doppelgangers. Interesting, so now we're getting a second story that's perhaps going to tie into the first one. The main characters in my story are twins, a boy and a girl. Even though they were fraternal twins, they looked nearly identical, as if they were doppelgangers. The little brother had feminine features, and the typical signs of puberty didn't show. Needed more meat! If he had put on the same clothes as his twin, people would have definitely mistaken them for sisters. All too often, boys who look like girls end up getting bullied. But not in the little brother's case. His big sister was extremely protective, and if anyone was mean to her little brother, she was quick to bully that person back. Eye for an eye, that's how the twins operated. Under his sister's protection, the little brother never felt insecure about his femininity, but he became very dependent on his big sister. Meanwhile, the big sister always needed someone to rely on her to uphold her self-esteem, and she grew to be quite passive-aggressive. If her brother ever failed to notice something that she did for him, she would get overly frustrated and ignore him for days on end. Adorable, isn't she? But regardless of all that, the twins were very close, almost as if it was only the two of them in their own little world. That is, until the big sister met a certain handsome guy. Uh-oh. Jealous. This motherfucker. It happened this past spring. The twins were both taking Intro to Philosophy. It's a pretty advanced course. I guess that's like college level. One day they were discussing animal rights, and the professor asked whether it was okay for people to eat cats and dogs. Is that professor a moron? What's there to think about? You eat an adorable fur baby today, you might as well eat a baby tomorrow. Could you just let me finish my story, please? Sorry, I really love animals. There is this handsome guy in this V-neck sweater. I'm sorry. I personally think sweaters are quite nice. It's just funny how their only descriptor is handsome guy, but he's wearing like the nerdiest sweater and collared shirt combo. This handsome guy that just walked out. Just walked out of a freaking engineering convention. And then a handsome guy who usually sat in the corner and rarely talked But that day he raised his hand and spoke. So we can eat chickens, pigs, and cattle, but not cats or dogs. That seems awfully inconsistent to me. Ooh, he's into the debate! Hearing this argument, the little brother had a response. People don't love things equally. That's just human nature. I think that kind of inconsistency is excusable. I'm so tiny! I don't normally eat animal meat, but that's just a personal choice. If a dog or a cat lover still chooses to eat other kinds of meat, I don't think that's any less consistent than my preferences. The two went at it and support was split in the class. As class ended, the professor praised both for their well-constructed arguments. I mean, it is an interesting argument. I mean, like, really the only thing separating it is how much we've put emotional connection into cats and dogs versus cattle and pigs and chickens and stuff like that. Like, if you imagine, like, an alternate universe where, you know, we were more emotionally connected to, like, chickens, you know, maybe we wouldn't eat them more or something. I don't know. The big sister supported her brother's argument, but she was also impressed by the handsome guy's logical persuasiveness and the articulate way he talked. The survival of your species is entirely contingent on how tasty you are. I mean, yeah. We also didn't spend hundreds and hundreds, or maybe not hundreds, years and years breeding cats to be tasty. I mean, there's that too. Like... What's the matter, Brucie? Looks like you were about to say something. What is it? You're talking about Greet and Hans, aren't you? Hansel and Gretel? Is that what their names are? Greet and Hans? Who are they? James, you really are something. Do you really not remember them? They were in our year, and you had classes with them. They majored in psychology as well. Brucie and Jade, in particular, were very close, but half a year ago, the two of them disappeared.
What? Seriously?
Jade, I thought Brucie was your friend. Isn't it a little mean to gossip about your friend's disappearance? Look at how sincere my eyes are. My eyes that are always closed. Are these the eyes of someone who gossips like that? How should I know? I'm not a telepath. I can't read your mind. Precisely because Gret, and I were so close, it makes sense that I want to figure out what really happened. Isn't that right, James?
I guess?
What's going on here? Even if she really knows the truth, why would she want to talk about it now? What is Jade thinking? Also, child, maybe the reason you're bullied is because your fashion sense is kind of atrocious. I mean, the overalls, the way... I only just kind of noticed it just because of the sprite where he's, like, pulling him a little bit. I don't know what time period this game is. I'm assuming it is modern-ish times. But yeah, him being in overalls makes sense, but like, she seems like she's wearing modern-ish clothes. I mean, hey, Lolita culture, I'm all for it, but I sort of get why they're probably like, your clothes are really lame, and he's like, no, Lolita culture is amazing, I love it! Look at my cute overalls! I I'm gonna go pick some pumpkins. Like, if she's coming to school like this. Maybe the handsome guy was like, look, my fashion sense is terrible too. We should be friends. As time went on, Hans and the handsome guy clashed in heated debates over all kinds of issues. They became rivals and best friends! They actually did! They became friends over terrible fashion and heated debates. I love it. When the student association planned a big event, Hans formed a group with Gretel, and the handsome guy. I love how they still haven't given him a name. And then Gret invited me, so the four of us ended up working together. That was really fun, but also super exhausting. After a successful event, Gret suggested going to an amusement park after classes on Friday to celebrate. However, our professor suddenly decided that Hans and I were in charge of the next presentation. We needed time to prepare, so only Gret and the handsome guy made it to the amusement park. And that's where something magical happened. It started raining. As soon as the two of them arrived at the park, it started drizzling romantically. I'm so giant, you can be sheltered by my giant arms. They both had umbrellas, but they acted like they didn't and huddled under the handsome guy's umbrella together. Schmooth. They were suddenly so close. She just said she didn't go. How does she know all this? I just know, okay? Don't interrupt me. Wait, what? She's like, I know you're gonna ask me how I do this, but I just know, okay? They stayed at the amusement park until it was dark. When they finally left, there was an amazing night view all around them. It was incredible. On a whim, Gret pulled out her phone and played her favorite song. Don't fall for my best friend forever! Has she had to play this multiple times because it is her favorite song? Hey you, don't fall for my best friend forever. Hey you, you should just stay away. Hey you. I love this song too. Have you been in this situation before? Have you had to tell someone to not fall for your best friend? Is this just a very popular song in this universe? Wow, I love this song too, and they had a great time talking about music. And he totally didn't get the hint about the title. They walked through the evening humming songs together. They got so close, the backs of their hands accidentally touched. That is that is the vibe. Backs of their hands accidentally touched. No, not in public! And then, they were holding hands. Oh, scandalous! Is he saying this? I guess he's saying this. Don't read into this too much, but are you interested in anyone at the moment? Yeah, he's saying this. Okay. There are two I think I might have feelings for. Oh man, she's having to decide between people. Popular. Really? Me too. Is one of them here with you right now? Yeah, it's you. That was the moment they confirmed they had feelings for each other. But feelings is such a vague word. Gret didn't realize she had an actual crush on the handsome guy until the day she invited him and me to a movie that Hans had recommended. Oh yeah, that movie was so good. It was, especially when the girl finds out that the guy she secretly loves is into her best friend. Wow, we're just being really forward with the plot. That was pretty heartbreaking. That was pretty heartbreaking. Huh? So you've both seen the movie already? Oh, well, I just happened to see it with a friend. Oh, I see. Gret recalled the handsome guy saying that there were two people he had feelings for. One was Gret, and the other must have been the one he went to the movie with. That's always awkward though, like, when you want to see a movie with someone but you've already seen it. So you're like, yeah, I'll see it again with you guys, and you have to pretend like you don't know what's already gonna happen. Although, dick move if, like, she hadn't seen it yet and you just spoiled everything. Thinking about it threw Gret into a jealous fit. That's when she realized that she'd fallen in love with the handsome guy who still doesn't have a name. From that moment on, she couldn't get her heads out of the clouds. Gret herself thought a 20-year-old shouldn't act so love-stricken. Okay, so she's 20, yeah, they're in college. But what could she do? She was totally obsessed. Gret went on several dates with the handsome guy, and it was always romantic. She fell more and more in love, then finally she decided to confess her feelings. Gret, I'm sorry. I think we should just be friends. I see. You've fallen for the other person then. Sorry, I should have realized how I felt sooner. No, it's okay, man. Life is complicated. You go on a couple more dates and then you're like, yeah, this is just getting awkward. No, it's not your fault. Can you tell me who it is? I can't say exactly, but it's someone close to you. We should just be friends. Those words started it all. Oh, I forgot to mention. Besides listening to music, Gret loved to cook. Every time she made steak, she invited me over to her place. The Saturday after she got rejected, Gret invited me over again. Normally we laughed and chatted through dinner, but that day, Gret didn't say a word. The atmosphere was unusually heavy. Understandable. Hans was out with a friend, too. The only sounds were that of cutting and chewing meat. That's a pleasant eating environment. Gret's steaks were usually cooked medium, but that day they were rare. Whenever she cut her steak, I could see the bright red juice bleeding out. You know, it's just how you get your emotions out. Stabbing a nice, bright, rare steak. Hey, do you think I'm kind of an attention seeker? Gret finally broke the silence, but started on a disturbing topic. What's wrong? What makes you say that? You know how I told you that my dad was very strict? When Hans was little, my dad would lock him out on the balcony for every little mistake. Hans would knock on the window all night long, begging my dad to let him in. And every time I'd let Hans back in the dead of night, my dad always found out the next day and beat Hans up. It was all my fault. It was your dad who beat Hans up, not you. I know, but if I were Hans, I'd blame my sister's meddling for making my punishment that much worse. I still can't mind my own business. I might look like I'm always doing stuff for Hans and others, but I only do it for the attention. Everyone knows, but they're just too nice to say it. Whatever people think about you, if you just minded your own business, back when I broke my leg freshman year, I don't know how I would have gotten through. Sometimes I think if I hadn't broken my leg, we wouldn't be such close friends. It was kind of destiny, don't you think? Besides, you're not a telepath. How do you know that? How do you know that Hans or anyone else thinks you should mind your own business? That's true, that's the anxiety speaking. Sorry, you always have to make me feel better. Don't say that. We're friends, aren't we? Jeez, she always did this, that sentimental bitch. That's why she had no friends. Woof! That's quite the heel turn of a statement, Jade. Huh? Every time she felt insecure, she never said anything. She just pushed herself to the edge, but still wanted everyone to notice. How could anyone stand that? But that's what made her so appealing. I loved seeing Gret riled up. Sometimes I'd invite Hans, but not her, right in front of her face. Or ignore her birthday and say, oops, when was it again? A few days later. Ah, yeah, we're learning that, yeah, Jade's maybe not such a good person. Or maybe she just likes pushing people's buttons and seeing their reactions. Ah, I wish you guys could have seen her face. The poor thing was so adorable. You were such a psycho. Sorry, I got carried away. She's a steak chewer! Just gonna use that as a term for people now. You're such a steak chewer. Let's get back on topic. So what's wrong? What's on your mind this time? It's the handsome guy. I thought he was interested in me, so I asked him out a bunch of times. Sheesh, a bunch of times? But it turns out he didn't like me after all. It must have been so annoying hanging around him like that. I don't think... And you know what? He likes someone else already. Whoa! What? Huh? Gret stabbed the steak hard with her knife, and red juice splattered across my face. Uh-oh, Gret, you're giving me some yandere vibes. Give me some yandere vibes, Gret. Oops, I'm sorry. It's okay. Can I get a napkin? You're the one who went to that movie with him, aren't you? Oh, she's assuming you're the only other girl that he hangs out with. It has to be you. I knew it. It's all your fault. It's 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 your fault. I know this sounds corny, but in that moment, I saw murder in her eyes. In that instant, she really meant to kill me. Just thinking about how many times Gret must have simulated in her head how she was going to push me down, mount my struggling body, and thrust her knife into my face. Oh god, she opened her eyes. She looks crazy. She's really excited about being stabbed, I guess. Whoa, what the fuck? But then she just stared at me, bit her lower lip, and put the knife down with a trembling hand, and never touched me once. Why you? Why does it have to be you? If I hate you, I'll lose the only friend who listens to my problems. First world problems. I only have one friend, and if I kill her, then she's gone, and no one else will listen to me. It's like a bucket full of ice thrown in my face. I felt robbed and disillusioned. Why won't you kill me? It looked so promising, but Gret totally ruined the moment. You're just like my dad. It's never your fault, is it? If I blame you, it's like I'm the bad guy. I'm the bad guy if I stab you. Perhaps to Gret, the villains in her life who weren't quite evil enough were the worst. She wanted to shift all the blame on us, but she couldn't because we weren't completely at fault, because we're just fucking human beings. We shouldn't see each other for a while. I need to be alone. As I listened to Gret's words, I told myself I had to be patient. Gotta let her build her bloodlust back up. Not yet. At least not now. Gret is still just a bud. But sooner or later, she'll flower and secrete her sweet, stabby, murdery nectar. After our confrontation, Gret got visibly depressed and had trouble sleeping even an hour a day. Every time she got the song "Don't Fall for My Best Friend Forever" in her head, she couldn't stop the sadness welling up inside of her. Why not me? Why her? Why don't you want my love? Why do you want hers? These thoughts continued to haunt Gret. It all started and ended so quickly that Gret couldn't take it. And now that it ended, time was so slow that Gret couldn't take it. Yeah, she hadn't even said, yeah, it's actually me. She's totally, like, stringing her along. She just wanted to go back before any of it had happened. Then perhaps she would only have had fun memories. Meanwhile, Hans knew that something wasn't right and asked Gret what had happened, but she refused to say anything. If you really understood me, I shouldn't have to explain. Oh, that is so false logic. You just know what I'm going through. I guess no one in this world understands me after all. Boo-hoo. Hans didn't even know what Gret was in love. How could he have confronted her? Or comforted her? But he didn't give up. Just like writing ketchup on the steak, like, what's wrong? If Gret doesn't want to tell me, I can be there for her anyway. And it worked surprisingly well. Gret, the steaks you make are delicious. Can you teach me how to cook them? I want to learn. Really? Well, of course. I'd be happy to. With Hans by her side, Gret finally started feeling better. I just like to imagine this, like, extremely girly girl in the back with, like, a charcoal and a grill. Like, well, first you gotta fire up the grill. And then you gotta get yourself a nice, a nice dry rub on your steak. You know? It's like the manliest thing ever imaginable, like how to cook steaks really well. Gret's heartbreak was a blessing in disguise. Gret may have gotten rejected, but she got that much closer to her dear brother Hans. That's a good story, but wasn't this supposed to be an urban legend? What about doppelgangers? Who said I was done? Can't really diss Brucie for blowing his load too early. If Gret refused to say anything, how do you know she had sleeping problems? What kind of thoughts haunted her? What kind of interaction she had with Hans? Listen to yourself, and you accuse me of sexing my story up? Excuse me? No, Jade didn't. What? Nothing. I just don't think Jade fabricated anything. I think it's what actually happened. Wow, Brucie, you understand me better than my own parents. Brucie, you're usually such a skeptic. Has Jade put you under a spell or something? Do I need to wake you up? I'm not sure, but I get the feeling that Jade still has a joker up her sleeve. There's no good reason for her to make up such little details. How does she know? How much does she know? What are her motives? That's the important part. One day at the end of the semester, Gret and I stayed on campus until nightfall to finish off some essays. Then we headed home together. On the way, I could tell Gret was holding something back. It was obvious she wanted to tell me something, but she wanted me to take the initiative and ask her what was wrong because she always does that. Ha! Like I'd ever do that. So we just kept walking on and on. We had gotten to a park near the campus when Gret finally opened her mouth. Jade, you're mad at me, aren't you? Huh? I got pissed that the guy I like fell for you, even though it wasn't your fault. I'm really sorry. It was such a shock. Gret was taking the initiative to make up with me. I mean, fuck. All I wanted was to see her emotions explode. But that was okay. I still had a Joker left to play. Hey, forget about it. But I think you misunderstood Gret. I pointed towards the park, and Gret turned her head to look. Dude, are they like making out on the bench? Yep. Yep. The twist is it wasn't... Yeah, she was playing her so much, I could only think that he wasn't actually going out with her. It was... When he said someone close, I could only think of the brother. Their hands... Hans was nuzzled up against the handsome guy's chest. Plus, he's like... Okay, not to, like, make assumptions, but, like, he's effeminate. He likes to wear cute clothes. He doesn't want to be manly. I mean, probably rolls that way, right? I mean, you don't have to be that. He doesn't have to be that. You don't have to dress that way to be that way. But kind of fits, right? Kinda fits, right? I'm just happy for him. I'm happy that he has an intelligent, gay or bi boyfriend. But this is probably gonna... Shit is probably gonna hit the fan immediately now. This is a horror game. Nothing goes good in a horror game. Hans was nuzzled up against the handsome guy's chest, and the handsome guy's arms were around Hans's delicate shoulders. This wasn't a hug between friends. They were obviously making out. I knew it! He does want a daddy. I did go to that movie with him, but just as friends. He was clear about that. The one he's really into is someone close to you. Much closer than I am. Oh, come to think of it, the last time I went to your place, wasn't Hans out with a friend? Who do you suppose that friend was? What do you think they did? They fucking... Did they go to an amusement park with a beautiful night view? Did they make out like they're doing right now? Or was it even hotter? More steamy? Hans, you... Oh, they fucking... Not quite convinced yet. Fine, just listen to the lovebirds talk then. Damn, she's really digging the knife in. You love that amusement park way too much. Don't you ever get tired of it? You Disneyland freaks. You people go there like 3 times a year and you still don't get sick of it.
Never, as long as it's with you. I'm having so much fun today. Thanks for asking me out.
You've been looking down lately. I hoped it would cheer you up. Well, Gret's been in a horrible mood lately, and she won't tell me what's wrong. I'm worried that she's met some playboy who's stringing her along. If anyone ever betrays Gret, I'll skin him alive and eat his flesh. Literally. Silly boy. Silly boy. Silly boy. Little do you know that the one betraying her right now is you. Well, he's not betraying her. It's just some miscommunication happened. The one betraying her is Jade. The one betraying her is Jade. Ha. Playboy. Where did that come from? I ask you out and all you can think about is your sister. Gret will always be my number one. You're number two at best. Oh! That's unfortunate. That's some sister's complex you've got. Did Gret spoil you when you were little? I don't know what you mean. Well, my sister was always nice to me. Isn't Hans just the little sweet? Also, how are they hearing this and they're not aware of it? I guess they're just like in the bushes. Just like creeping in the bushes, overhearing it, I guess. Isn't Hans just the sweetest? Even during his date, he was thinking about Gret. But to Gret, his words only made her feel like Hans was using her to make himself look good. Like I said before, my dad used to beat me up when I was little. Gret didn't want to be the only one who got punished, so she'd always try to help me out, and we would get beaten up together. That's how much she cared about me. Yeah, you know they're in it. You know they're close if he's bringing up trauma. But me, all I did was cry and let Gret console me, forcing her to say she was fine. You can't blame yourself. It was all your dad's fault. No, it wasn't my dad's fault. Back when our mom was around, he was really, really nice. Hans. My dad's not the one to blame. It was all because of the evil spirit. What? I knew that once I exorcised the evil spirit, my dad would be back to being nice again. Oops, did I say something weird? What I meant was my dad was possessed by the ghost of his past. So you don't mean an actual evil spirit. You had me worried for a moment there. Sorry, let's not talk about that anymore. I'm sorry I reminded you of such horrible memories. It's fine. Hey, by the way, Gret said she's hanging out with Jade tomorrow and won't be back until night. How about coming over in the morning? Gret taught me a secret recipe. It's called smoochin'. Ah, what a masterpiece. When I was in the lowest of my lows, you had the gall to pester me to teach you how to cook. And it wasn't even for my sake, it was to seduce him. That's what was raging through her mind. I know, 'cause I heard it. Oh? Of course I'd love to go, but I'm not a big fan of vegetarian meals. Vegetarian? Why vegetarian? Huh? I thought you were a vegetarian, Hans. What? No, I'm not. I just don't eat regular meat. What? But I'm not a vegetarian, silly. But that time you criticized my argument in class, I thought you said you didn't eat meat because you're a vegetarian. Are you just a picky eater? What kind of meat do you prefer? Oh, his face! Could it be the kind that I'm thinking about? Oh, that's very naughty of you. Watch out or I'll eat you up. Someone's a horny boy. Just listen to your dirty talk. What would your sister think if she heard? Oh, she did hear. She was very angry. I admit, that would be super awkward. That would be very awkward if I heard my brother say these words. Then they kissed right there in front of us. A wet, slappy, erotic kiss with plenty of tongue. Of course, Gret and I were the only ones there, but it was quite the sight. The two lovers had no idea we were there and made out passionately for a while. Man, they were really into it. Be careful on your way home. Don't get eaten by me, totally, the Cannibal Boy. I'm more worried about you. Do you want me to walk you home?
No thanks. I can take care of myself, you know.
Okay, but you be careful too.
Remember, I'll be raiding tomorrow.
Don't be late or you'll miss out on the meat. I thought Gret might do something, but she just walked away without saying a word. Maybe she was too angry to do anything. But I could see the bud of her rage growing, larger and redder. Gret was about to bloom and secrete her sweet, sweet, angry, pissed-off nectar. I'm gonna save. I'm scared. I feel like something's going to happen. The next morning, the handsome guy arrived at Han's place on an empty stomach. There he found a table lined with meat dishes. Oh boy. Sweet and sour pork, tasty. I don't know about for breakfast. Pork belly stew, smoked sausage, very good for breakfast. Steak, salad? All sorts of dishes. The main dish was Gret's special steak. Cooked rare, just like that other time. Wow, what a feast.
Sorry, I accidentally got too many ingredients.
Considering how early in the morning you had to come, I was afraid you'd be eaten by the Cannibal Boy. He's just a man-eater. No need to fear him. What? There are plenty of vampires in the world. They suck the blood of the poor bit by bit just to make their own lives more luxurious, and we just look the other way. Unlike those vampires among us, at least the Cannibal Boy kills you on the spot and you die without suffering. If I had to choose, I'd go for the quicker death. Besides, the Cannibal Boy treats humans just like any other edible animal. So many people are quick to judge cat and dog eaters when they have no problem eating chicken, pork, or beef. Compared to those people who discriminate between animals, at least the Cannibal Boy is morally consistent. He treats all living animals equally. You're surprisingly supportive of, this cannibal. Handsome man. Sounds like flawed logic to me. Nah, he's being consistent of psychopathy. Really? You want to talk about that over brunch? Eating cats, dogs, and humans? James, you wouldn't feel like eating if you were there, would you? Well, I'm not a freak like them. Also, did we change location? Or did we just close the window? But forget about moral consistency or abuse. In my opinion, it doesn't require complex beliefs or a tragic past for a human to eat other humans. Oh my god. People talk about drooling over sexy bodies and refer to luscious breasts as melons. Those kinds of expressions are all over the place, don't you think? Hey, you talk about eating out and stuff. Plus, English, Chinese, and Japanese all use eating-related words. Yep. Yep. We're all used to that kind of slang that we don't even think twice about it. Perhaps in the collective subconscious, eating is essentially a kind of possession, a kind of intimacy, just like having sex. This is an interesting conversation that I did not think we were going to have in this game. So if eating is such an instinctive thing, do we need to ask why the Cannibal Boy eats humans? Do we really need to dig into what a tragic past he has? So it's a horny thing. People want to fabricate his past because they're convinced he's a freak and a monster. He must have a twisted past. He's not like us normal people. Do you even hear what you're saying? That is true. I do like that. Like, oh, to be a cannibal, you have to be some kind of messed up psycho. Instead of just like, nah man, maybe they're just a cannibal. You know, it has to be like a Hannibal Lecter situation where they're super mentally disturbed. It's like, yeah, nah man, maybe they're just a cannibal. Maybe they They just like eating people, that's it. Nothing deep. They just like eating people. They just like how it tastes. Yeah. What I mean is, you don't eat cats or dogs, but not because you're an animal lover, or because you're civilized. It's only because you happen to live in that kind of echo chamber. Excuse me? The only reason you don't eat humans is because no one around you does. You're just afraid that if you do, you'll be treated like a freak. Yeah, I mean, technically nothing bad would happen to you if you ate a person. Like, from a like medical standpoint, it's all like a social standpoint, yeah, that kind of thing. Because like plenty of animals in nature eat other animals of their same species. Like cannibalism in nature is actually very common. It's only humans are the ones that are like, no, it's socially bad. So it's an interesting thing to bring up. It's only societally that we have decided that these things are incorrect. It's interesting. I didn't think this game was gonna get like philosophical. A game called the Cannibal Boy. I didn't think was gonna get philosophical. With a lolly boy in it. A gay lolly boy. Game difficulty, intro to philosophy, yeah. Hans, what kind of meat is this? Does it matter? Do you not like it? I do. I like it so much, I have to know what kind of meat it is. The texture is like beef, it tastes like pork, and it smells like lamb. But it's not restructured meat? Oh, so I guess like if you made a sausage. Maybe a hamburger that's 70% pork and 30% lamb might taste something like this. But it hasn't been ground. It's a whole piece of meat. Yeah, that's why I was thinking like sausage. Where did you get this? Huh. So you care more about the type of meat than how well I cooked it. Figures. I spent so much time cooking this cannibal meat. Oh, a swapperoonie? You're Gret, aren't you? Where's Hans? What happened between us doesn't concern him. Don't drag him into this. Really? Do I have to spell it out for— Oh, no! Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, Gret. You had to do. Why'd you have to do it? The Cannibal Boy was actually the Cannibal Girl? The handsome guy looked at the bloody chunk of meat and put his fork down with a shudder. If I hadn't played the bad guy, you know that sissy would have been bullied like hell. Now that he's all grown up, he's seducing guys I like behind my back. Also, your sense of taste. It's really something else. There was a guy and a girl, identical in every other way, and you chose the guy? Yeah, so what? You being a homophobe right now? Why, Hans? Why not me? Give me a reason. Say something! Gret, I'm actually really curious why you're so convinced that you and Hans are identical except for your sex. You're actually a psycho bitch. The handsome guy stood up and walked towards Gret. Then he slowly gripped Gret's shoulders. His fingertips sank deeper and deeper into Gret's flesh, causing her face to contort in pain. But that doesn't matter anymore. The only thing that matters is that you and Hans are twins.
So what? What if we're twins?
Nothing much, just that you must be... What? As delicious as Hans, I'm sure. Huh? Okay. Alright. I mean, he dealt with that situation, cleanly. He's like, sucks my boyfriend's dead. I ate him. But you know what? He was actually really tasty. And you know what? I think I know where that meat source came from. And it is right in front of me. After that, Gret and Hans went missing.
What?
But they weren't dead. Are you sure? They both bloomed with wild abandon, before withering in vain, frozen in their most beautiful moments. Shit! All it took was a little push for a normal person like Gret to murder someone and feed the flesh to someone else. At that table, she was a cannibal boy, too. Gret proved that, and shall live on forever in my heart. Jade? You, me, the handsome guy right here? Oh? We're all the same. Humans are all birds of a feather. Consistent beliefs, a tragic past. None of that is necessary. Anyone can turn into an evil spirit. Alright. Anyway, I'm sorry. I spent way too much time on one urban legend. Hope you enjoyed it. Hans was slaughtered by his doppelganger. Gret died the same way as her doppelganger. They're both worthy of being called doppelgangers, don't you think? Bullshit, that's not what a doppelganger is. Jade only brought that up as a topic, as a way to give away what happened. What does she want? Does she want to blackmail me? Or see my reaction? Or did she just want to prove her pet theory that everyone's insane? And how does she know everything about Gret and Hans? By stalking them? Spying? Or maybe she hacked into their devices? Jade, why did you tell us this urban legend? Oh, come on. You of all people should know, Brucie. Hey, what the hell's going on? Are you two plotting to scare me or something? Is that why we're all gathered in Jade's room? I think I understand why Jade said her eyes were sincere. They're the eyes of a writer, evaluating her work. Even Jade herself is a jester made to dance in her script. So now James and I have told our urban legends. Shouldn't you tell one too? If you hear of the story of the Cannibal Boy and you don't want him to come knocking, you have to tell the story of his past to someone who doesn't know yet, right?
What the hell, man? Why are you asking me this now?
Uh-oh. Voice acting. He snapped. What's so funny, Brucie? Ridiculous. There's no past worth talking about. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. You civilized people eat plenty of animals, but you point at people who eat cats and dogs and call them savages. It makes me sick. If you can't eat some, don't eat any. If you want to eat some, then eat them all. Is that hard? Is it really that hard to be consistent? That's all there is to it. Plain and simple. Stop that, Brucie. You've got to leave him some hope. Just look at James's face. Can't you see it's filled with despair? How's the climax going to happen now? I don't know how I'm supposed to get some hands on some turtle. I don't know, man. I don't want to eat any shark. I don't want to eat shark. I think I'm also allergic to some fish. And I fully agree that I'm a hypocrite. I love squid. I know squid is delicious, and that squid are probably sentient creatures. So, like, yep. So I just admit that I'm a hypocrite. That's my take. I admit I'm a hypocrite. So as long as it's done humanely. Do you realize what a nuisance it is when too many people find out what I like to eat? I always set an annual limit for myself, but I guess I'm gonna go over this year. Oh my god, he's gonna eat his roommate! I guess I should reward Jade's enthusiasm with an urban legend of my own. But I really don't like to conjure things up, so I'll let James here. Oh, there's the sprite! Experience it firsthand. Oh my god. Oh, is that the end? Oh my god! Fucking ate his roommate! Holy shit! Oh my god. She totally did that because she wanted to see him eat his roommate. He was just probably doing something to annoy her, and she's like, okay, I'm gonna just start talking about the Cannibal Boy so I can see you eat your roommate. Oh, they changed the image of the title screen so it's him now. That's fun, because he's the true Cannibal Boy. I like that. I like that. That was fun. That was a nice little short story with some little twists and turns. I mean, that is the very, very first one that they wrote back in 2020, so it's pretty straightforward. There aren't any RPG Maker elements yet. It's just a straight VN. But that was fun. That was our first introduction to some of our characters that we will be seeing throughout the series. But yeah, that was fun. That was a great little short horror story.